Okay, before we even start to do anything, we actually need to weigh all of our bath bombs. So here I'm just weighing out all the bath bombs, and then I'm going to be writing down what they weigh, because that way I can actually make the labels. So I make all my labels through Canva. And Canva is actually a really good thing to use, because if you actually use it, number one, it's free. You can have a paid subscription, but mine is just the free one, and on that you can tell them exactly the measurements that you want to create your own labels. So you don't have to use the exact ones they've got, you just use the drop down menu and create your own. So it's definitely much easier to do it that way. And then I use the template, I keep it, and I just go over it and change the ingredients as I need to, along with the size of the bath bomb and the grams. So yeah, so give it a go and see how you go on Canva, but I really and truly love it. So you can see here, this is my setup when I actually do my bath bombs. So I usually line them all along this table, which is just a dining table, to be totally honest. It's a 6-seater dining table. Of course, I've removed the chairs, and I set all of the bath bombs up that I'm going to be doing, my labels in a row. And then obviously I'm here at the shrink wrapping table, and you can see that I have a shrink wrapping machine behind. It's not a national shrink wrap. I would love to have one of those, but it wasn't in my budget, so I've just got a cheaper version. This one here is around $400 for it. And then of course I do also have the shrink wrap roll that is on it as well. The shrink wrap roll, I actually buy mine from Melbourne Australia. It is a double one, so literally you just slide your products in the middle of the two plastic pieces, and then you seal it and it will cut it off for you, so you don't need to cut it or anything messy, and it does it really nice and neat. And then this machine also came with a heat gun, and so for the heat gun I use that once I've actually pressed down and sealed all my products. So you can see me here actually sealing them. I'm sealing a massive 650 gram bath bomb that I'm doing here at the moment. I only do a few of these. These are my mega ones. They're usually a bit of a fun one. And then of course I use the heat gun. Try and make sure you keep the heat gun, you know, at least 20 centimeters, 10 to 20 centimeters away from the product, and be careful when you're using it, because it does get really hot. I try and sit the products on a tray and then do the top, and then I twirl them around. But yeah, so you can see, presto, it's looking beautiful and all gorgeous. So in here I've actually put the label inside the plastic to show you, but I also do put the label on the outside. The good thing with putting the label on the inside is it does protect the label. If water gets to it, it's not going to make the ink run. If you're using a standard inkjet printer, which is what I use, I only use a $39 printer, which I get from Big W in Australia, which is a department store. So yeah, you don't need really expensive ingredients to be able to make this work. So yeah, as you can see, it does look really nice. It's professional, it's sealed, and I think especially with the COVID pandemic, it's really important to seal all the products, because people will pick them up, they will touch them, and at least it does protect the inner product that you're going to use. So we'll continue wrapping all of the different bath bombs that you can see me doing. So this one here is a tiny little baby one. We've decided to make some that are more of I guess an economic one, which this little skull is really cute for kids. So we've got them in orange, which is a really sweet scent, and the green is also a sweet scent, and then the purple we've done in essential oil lavender. And they're only about 50 grams, 50 to 55 grams, but it's actually a really good one for children. So in this I can actually put 3 of them together in the plastic sleeve that I'm using and then sealing it, which works out to be more economic. I had decided to do the labels in the matching colors, so I'm trying to keep orange with orange and purple with purple, but you don't have to. A lot of our labels are just plain paper. And coming to that too, you can actually just use your plain standard A4 paper if it's going to be inside the plastic. If it's on the outside, no, it will just tear straight away. So that is also another good thing on putting it on the inside. The one thing that I'd say that is a bit of a downfall on putting it on the inside If it comes apart or it comes loose away from the bath bomb, that's a bit of a pain, because it means you're going to have to undo the whole plastic and restart again. If you put on the outside and it rips off, well, you can just put a new one on, but you will lose more putting it on the outside, definitely. So my suggestion for sure is putting it on the inside. Just make sure your labels are really clean and the environment is clean, and they're cut and ready to go. So you can see here, I've actually cut everything ready to go to make it nice and simple, and I know exactly what I'm doing. This has taken me quite a few hours to do, because it does take a long time to actually wrap everything and get it all going. So stay tuned and you can watch me wrap the rest, and I'll come back soon. So I keep wrapping, as you can see here, and so I'll let you keep watching me as I wrap them along and pop them all in here. I think we have roughly a couple hundred to do for here. So when we do our local market, which we do a Mornington market, usually only once a month to once every second week, we don't have time to do a lot of them, because obviously we're making them and we manufacture them all here. But when we actually do the market, we can sell, up to 150 bath bombs. So we do need to, get them ready and do quite a lot and seal them up. So this bit does take a bit of time, but once you actually get into a bit of a rhythm on how you're doing it, you will actually find that you'll get faster. So for me, I spend probably an hour making all of the labels, designing them and cutting them and getting them all ready. And then once I've got them all ready, I, cut them all, or I do have a pre-cut machine that will tell me the size. So if I use the pre-cut machine, I can type in the exact size I want, and then it will actually cut them for me as well. But often I just cut them by hand. Sometimes, to be really honest, it's so much faster. If you don't have that, you can also just simply use Windows. So just use Windows and, just open up a new writing page, and then you can use it that way as well. So you don't need a fancy machine to cut them or make them like that. You can use so many more. If you don't want to print your own labels, you can use a company such as avery.com.au, and that way they'll actually help you print them out and send them to you. But a cost-effective way is definitely doing it yourself, the way that we're doing it here. And you do have to remember, if you're buying or sourcing labels somewhere else, then obviously you need to add that cost to your product. And when you're costing your product as well, do remember that you need to add in your time. I mean, this takes me a long time to make this, and because we have a warehouse where we manufacture everything, we actually need to add that cost in as well to our product. So when you buy a product at a local shopping centre, it's exactly the same. Everything is being added in prior to you buying it. So all these things do cost money. But I will put some really good links in for you of some different places that you can get printed if you like. And I'll also put in some links where you can get this machine, and also where you can get the National Shrink Wrap machine if you prefer to use that system too. But I mean, like I said, it was out of my reach financially. So we'll start with this, but we may go to that at a later date. So you can see now I've actually started doing the next bit. So I've actually shrink wrapped and sealed the tiny little skull head ones that we're doing in purple, and I do quite a lot in one go, and then I'm just using the heat machine here just to go over the top of them and shrink them down. So you can see I'm doing the top first. If you do the top, it actually allows it to shrink beautiful around the top, and then just do the sides. You don't need to pick every single piece up. Once I do it, I'm literally picking them up and putting them into a basket, because that way I know that they're all finished and all done, because we have over 100 of these little ones to do in total. But you can see once I've shrink wrapped them, they look really beautiful. It's easy for the customer to see exactly what's in it. So your shrink wrap does need to be neat. So just make sure that your seam is not at the top, because that's the main aesthetics of the actual product. So you want the top of it to be really smooth and sleek, so the customer can see exactly what they're getting. So hopefully that little bit's helped, and you can see how gorgeous they are, and these bits are all done. Well, we're starting the next bit now. So now we are actually going to our colourful green and pink bath bombs, and of course our butter bath bombs that you can see there. So we've made the labels just as I'm showing you there. In, like I said, this is in a card. I actually get this card, the coloured card, from Kmart, which is our local department store. I think it's roughly about $9 for a big container of them, and it will come in multi-colours, but you can get it from Officeworks or other suppliers as well. So I've wrapped it around. Once I wrap them around, I put the sticky tape on. And I think these are 8.25 inches is how long I've actually used this. The reason I'm saying inches is because I actually use a Cricut machine, and the Cricut does that in inches, not centimeters. So sorry for any Australians that are watching, and I'm giving you an old-fashioned measurement, but yeah, they do work in inches. So, but just convert that, it's nice and easy. And I just wrap them around a little bit of tape. Double-sided tape pulls apart, so I've tried really good double-sided tape and it doesn't work. But once we do this, then of course that will also go through the shrink machine, and then the next bits have done as well. So we're back to the shrink machine again, and we're going to be just sealing the ones that we've just done. So usually I usually just pop them through the bag, seal the edge, and then obviously once you've done 3 in a row, you're just going to seal each individual one. Make sure there's not any holes. If there's any holes when you use the heat gun, it will literally come apart. So you do have to make sure that there definitely is not any holes when you're doing that particular bit. And I guess the main thing that I can tell you when you're using a shrink machine is don't do it too tight. When you pull the handle down, just don't do it too tight, or else it will actually leave a hole. But you can see they're beautiful, all done and ready to sell. Okay everyone, so they're all ready. And you can see that everything is looking beautiful. So here's our after shots, which will go on our social media. I love to show you that, because that way you can see the end result. So I really hope that I've actually helped you understand a little bit more about shrink wrapping and labeling it. I will bring a labeling on our soaps later on, but most people keep asking me about the bath bombs. Thanks so much, and make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you midweek.